What is going on there, everyone? Well, whenever I get to talk about Beto, I got to because I just don't like the guy. He is the fakest individual I've ever seen. He is a 47-year-old fool who thinks he's in his early 20s and he has the mentality of that also. Beto O'Rourke lashes out at Mayor Pete over gun seizure remarks. I'm offended. Imagine that. Beto, there's no question in anyone's mind, of course you were offended. You're perpetually offended. Very simple. Just like you. Former Representative Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke, slammed his 2020 Democratic Party presidential primary challenger, South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg, on Wednesday for criticizing O'Rourke's signature policy proposal. What Pete has been saying is that a mandatory buyback is the shiny object that is distracting us, O'Rourke told reporters after participating in a gun safety forum in Las Vegas, Nevada. First off, let's get this straight right off the gate. There's no such thing as a gun buyback. Why? Because we didn't buy our firearms from the government. So the government can't buy them back. You know what I mean? I mean, that's pretty cut and dry right there. How can you buy something back that you didn't sell? And furthermore, where would they get the money for all these guns? They'd they'd take our tax money to buy our guns, which we pay taxes on. But yeah, it's just screwed up no matter how you think about it. It's wrong. It's something that cannot and can't happen. It's unconstitutional, really. Especially coming from these idiots that don't know anything about firearms. They call everything a weapon of war. Oh yeah, the Democrats in the House tried to put up a proposal that would have ended up banning over 212 or somewhere around there individual types of firearms. I don't think our military uses, when it comes to actual firearms, they don't use 200 different types. So how are you going to classify all those as weapons of war? It's ludicrous. It's nonsense. How in the world can you say that, he continued? How in the world can you say that to March for Our Lives? How can you say that to the survivors of mass shootings across the country? How can you say that to the majority of Hispanics in America, certainly in Texas, who fear they will be the victims of a mass shooting inspired by racism and hatred that's been welcomed into the open by the president and has been armed with weapons of war? Okay, first off, no. When it comes to race and talking about race and constantly just dragging everything through a racial lens, that would be the left, not the president. That's what they always do. They try to make it seem like they're projectionist. That's what they are. The left are all projectionists. They are all one way, but they try to point it at everyone else and say that they are that way, when it's not true. It's not the case. I'm sorry. What else? I mean, what else do you want? And people aren't armed with weapons of war. There are very different manufacturing techniques for civilian model firearms and military firearms. There's a lot of differences. Gas pressures are different. Internal sears are different. We could get into the semantics, but let's not for the sake of time. O'Rourke's remarks were in reference to comments Buttigieg first made in September during an appearance on CNN. At the time, Buttigieg criticized O'Rourke's calls for the federal government to seize millions of firearms from law-abiding American citizens, and noted that the proposal was playing right into the hands of Republicans. Not just Republicans, just common sense people who don't want our rights violated by the government. Why is the left always so big on giant government? Why do they want a government takeover of everything? That's crazy. It's just crazy. There's no way to think about it where it's not crazy. You're going to give up all your rights to a governing body? No, that's stupid. Keep your rights. Fight for your individual rights. Ay, ay, ay. Look, right now, we have an amazing moment right here on our hands, Buttigieg told CNN host Jake Tapper. We have agreed among the American people for not just universal background checks, but we have a majority in favor of red flag laws, which red flag laws are bad. Stupid idea. I'm all for background checks, because generally there's already background checks. And red flag laws are bad because there's going to be too many false claims that are going to screw people over. It's going to be a whole thing. High capacity magazines, people should be able to have whatever they want when it comes to a magazine. Banning the new style of assault weapons. What is this new style? What is the new style of assault weapons? The last time I checked, the AR-15 was built roughly on the M16 and the M4s and stuff like that for looks, aesthetic. Why are you scared of the way something looks? It's just a stupid argument. This is a golden moment to finally do something because we've been arguing about this for as long as we've been alive, he added. Find something better to argue about. O'Rourke's demand for a nationwide gun grab comes as he's been facing mounting pressure to drop out of the presidential race. Instead of ending his campaign, he rebranded it for a third time in August with a primary focus on expanding his anti-Second Amendment platform. Yes, that's what he is running on, taking your rights away. That's the exact type of person you should vote for, right? The former Texas lawmaker was the first major 2020 Democratic candidate to endorse a federally mandated gun confiscation program for so-called assault weapons. But a host of his primary challengers have since followed suit. To date, none of the candidates advocating for a mandatory buyback program have defined what constitutes as an assault weapon because they don't know, because they literally don't know anything about firearms. I guarantee most of these people that are calling for the complete abolition of firearms have never even shot one. Never even went to a gun safety class. None of that. Because they don't care. It's not about knowledge and information. It's about expanding their power hold on you and me, the people. That's what it's about. However, the proposal has been a divisive topic for the Democratic Party. While O'Rourke's declaration that, hell yes, we're going to take away your AR-15 and your AK-47 has received massive applause from his left-wing supporters, many Democratic lawmakers have since been distancing themselves from the rallying cries. Yeah, because it's not a good look. There's over 100 million firearms in this country. There's only 330 to 340 million people in this country. So yeah, I would say that a vast swath of the American public happen to own firearms, and you're threatening them. You're just openly threatening to take something that they have, that they own, that's theirs, that they have the rights for. You're threatening to take that away, regardless of a vote or anything. So, bad look. O'Rourke has touted both Republican and Democratic disapproval of the program, stating that it shows me we are doing something right. When both sides are in disapproval, it shows you you're doing something right? Man, how twisted of a mind do you have to have? This is leftism for you. This is leftism for you. But the former congressman has also taken particular offense to Buttigieg's condemnation. I was really offended by those comments, O'Rourke said. I think Buttigieg represents a kind of politics that is focused on poll testing and focus group driving and triangulating and listening to consultants before you arrive at a position. That's actually not a bad thing. Like, why are you trying to condemn him for that? That's a pretty good way to go about it. He's not just taking his crazy ideas and throwing them out there and hoping, he gets a bite on it. No, he's asking people about, hey, this is one of my positions. What do you think? That's a good thing out of a politician, I would think. I mean, Sounds like that makes a lot of sense, other than what you're doing. I mean, rather than what you're doing. It's kind of stupid. He almost had me curse. Stupid thing. I think our politics have to be about doing the right thing and saying the right thing. Well, you're not doing any of that. So you should probably get out of politics because you can't even follow your own message. Simple as that. Beto O'Rourke, you are a loser. You don't know what you're talking about. And your own party is, like half of your own party is against almost everything you're for. Because you are an emotionally reactionary person. You don't go on facts. You don't go on sciences or data of anything. You just go on how you feel. And considering that you're such an emotional person, who, by the way, eats dirt. Yeah, that's weird. I don't care who you are. That's weird. Maybe that's why he acts so weird. Maybe he's got worms from eating all of his magic dirt. The guy's just crazy. He's a 47-year-old that thinks he's 20 still. He's out of his mind. He is... you can't call someone like him a progressive because there's no progress in anything he's doing. He's an idiot. He's a fool. And I think even the Democratic Party knows that. That's why they are all slightly distancing themselves from O'Rourke. He's a bombastic buffoon. But I'd love to hear your comments, whether you like Beto O'Rourke or whether you're like me and just realize that he is a moron. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. I will catch y'all on the flip side.